Good evening. This is All India Radio. I am Naresh Mago and with me is Gaurav Sharma with the evening news. The headlines. Centre asks states with spike in daily new COVID-19 cases to increase proportion of RT-PCR tests and focus on surveillance and containment in select districts. Over 1 crore 10 lakh people administered COVID-19 vaccine in the country so far. National recovery rate improves to 97.25%. BJP passes resolution appreciating Prime Minister Narendra Modi for effective handling of pandemic and able leadership amid COVID-19. 2 more MLAs of ruling Congress-led alliance resign ahead of the floor test in Puducherry Assembly tomorrow. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to visit Assam and West Bengal tomorrow. Several developmental projects to be dedicated. 10th round of India-China Corps Commander level meeting concludes. The two sides welcome smooth completion of disengagement of frontline troops in Pangong Lake area. In Gujarat, polling in 6 municipal corporations concludes. Over 41% votes cast. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh inaugurates 26th edition of Hunar Haat in New Delhi. Says it gives emphasis on vocal for local. In Jammu and Kashmir, Banihal Baramulla train service to resume from tomorrow after remaining suspended for 11 months. In tennis, defending champion Novak Djokovic wins his 9th Australian Open title, beating Daniel Medvedev at Melbourne Park. As the nation fights the COVID-19 pandemic, we begin with a message of precaution to stay safe and protected by following these 3 simple steps. Wear a face mask, maintain 2 gaz ki doori for social distancing, and focus on hand and face hygiene. And now the news. Centre has advised the states that are witnessing a spike in daily new COVID-19 cases to refocus on strict and comprehensive surveillance as well as stringent containment in selected districts. The Health Ministry said Maharashtra, Kerala, Andhra Pradesh, Goa and Chandigarh have weekly positivity rates more than the national average. To contain the spike, Centre has written to the states to increase the proportion of RT-PCR tests and subject the rapid antigen negative people to mandatory retest by RT-PCR. The states were advised regular monitoring of the mutant strains through testing, followed by genome sequencing as well as monitoring of the emerging cluster of cases. Over 1 crore 10 lakh 85,000 people have been administered the COVID-19 vaccine in the country so far. Over 4 lakh 32,000 doses were given in the last 24 hours. The Health Ministry has said India continues reaching new milestones in terms of administering COVID vaccine doses to a record number of beneficiaries. Meanwhile, the COVID-19 recovery rate in the country has improved to 97.25%. In the last 24 hours, 11,667 people have recovered. Over 1 crore 6 lakh 89,000 people have recovered so far from the COVID-19 infection. In the last 24 hours, 14,264 new cases are reported. The number of active cases in the country stands at nearly 1,45,000, comprising nearly 1.32% of the total reported cases. 90 deaths were reported in the last 24 hours, taking the cumulative toll to 1,56,302.
In Manipur, 4 new cases of COVID-19 were confirmed in the past 24 hours out of 891 samples. Meanwhile, 8 people recovered from COVID-19. So far, 5,42,337 samples have been tested for COVID-19 in Manipur. The total number of positive cases reached 29,237 and the total recovered cases stand at 28,784. The recovery rate is 98.45% and the active cases dropped to 80. In Maharashtra, in the wake of the rising COVID patients, various district administrations have decided to strictly enforce various COVID-19 guidelines. Strict lockdown will be implemented in Amravati and Achalpur, while night curfew will be implemented in Nashik, Pune and districts of Amravati region. More from our correspondent.
Guardian Minister for Amravati, Srimati Yashomati Thakur, has announced a complete lockdown in Amravati city and Achalpur town for a week from tomorrow evening, but all the essential services will be available to the citizens during this period. Schools and colleges are closed in Pune district till month end. Non-essential activities will also be closed between 11 p.m. to 6 a.m. in Pune. Night curfew between 11 p.m. to 5 a.m. is imposed in Nashik district. Fine of rupees 1,000 will be imposed on those not wearing mask. But school and colleges will remain open in Nashik. In Amravati, Buldhana, Akola, Yavatmal and Washing districts of Amravati region, school, colleges and other educational institutes will be closed for teaching activities. Maximum 25 people will be allowed in marriage functions. Except essential service, all other offices are permitted with maximum of 15 staff members. Jeevan Bhavsar, AIR News, Mumbai.
Meanwhile, Maharashtra Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray has clarified that the decision of statewide lockdown will be taken after a week, if required. He also clarified that the second wave of coronavirus is not yet confirmed in the state.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi today inaugurated the meeting of the BJP National Office Bearers at the NDMC Convention Centre in New Delhi. Party's national office bearers, BJP state in charges, state presidents and others also participated in the meeting. Mr. Modi and BJP President J.P. Nadda addressed the inaugural session. The day-long meeting also deliberated upon the Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan, farm laws and forthcoming assembly elections in states. The party passed a resolution thanking Prime Minister Narendra Modi for effective handling of the pandemic and able leadership amid COVID-19. The party resolution lauded Prime Minister Narendra Modi for reforms in the agriculture sector and raising farmers' income. After the end of the meeting, Party General Secretary Bhupender Yadav told media persons that Prime Minister Narendra Modi, in his address to the BJP office bearers today, said the BJP is not just working for political power, but Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, and the party's organization must continue to work relentlessly towards that goal. He said Mr. Modi asked BJP workers to strengthen and expand the party with the motto of Nation First. Mr. Yadav said, the BJP government has taken several path-breaking reforms on taxes, agriculture and in other areas. He said BJP Chief J.P. Nadda asked party workers to run campaigns on Atmanirbhar Bharat, which include campaigns for Vocal for Local, using Swadeshi products and awareness for startups. Mr. Yadav said the BJP in its political resolution has committed itself to uproot what he called the undemocratic government of Mamata Banerjee in West Bengal. Mr. Yadav said the opposition, especially the Congress, is frustrated and has decided to protest against all the moves of the BJP government. In the Union Territory of Puducherry, the ruling Congress Alliance government led by Chief Minister Narayanasamy has been plunged into a political crisis following resignations of the legislators. Two more MLAs of the ruling alliance resigned today ahead of the floor test in the Legislative Assembly tomorrow, bringing down its strength to 12 in the 33-member House.
While Chief Minister Narayanasamy will face the floor test tomorrow, two more MLAs from the ruling party resigned from their post today. K. Lakshmi Narayanan, elected from the Rajbhavan constituency, tendered his resignation to the Assembly Speaker Sivakolundu at his residence. Further, the Congress Alliance partner DMK MLA K. Venkatesan also resigned from his post and submitted the resignation letter to the Speaker. This has brought down the Congress party's strength to 9, including the Speaker, while its ally DMK has 2 members and 1 independent member in the Assembly, and the opposition has 14 MLAs in the 33-member House. Chandra Mohan, AIR News, Puducherry.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi will visit Assam and West Bengal tomorrow. He will dedicate important projects of the oil and gas sector to the nation in an event organized at Silapathar in Dhemaji, Assam. We have a report.
The Prime Minister will dedicate to the nation the INDMAX unit at Indian Oil's Bongaigaon refinery, Oil India Limited's secondary tank farm at Madhuban, Dibrugarh, and a gas compressor station at Hebeda village, Makum, Tinsukia. He will also inaugurate the Dhemaji Engineering College and lay the foundation stone for Sualkuchi Engineering College. These projects will usher in an era of energy security and prosperity and open bright avenues of opportunity for local youth. They are in line with the Prime Minister's vision of Purvodaya to drive Eastern India's socio-economic growth. Reshma Tiwari from News Desk.
On his visit to West Bengal tomorrow, the Prime Minister will dedicate to the nation several railway projects in Hooghly. Our Kolkata correspondent has filed this report.
On his third visit to the state of West Bengal within a month, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will inaugurate the extension of metro railway from Noapada to Dakshineshwar and flag off the first service on this stretch. This 4.1 km extension has been constructed at a cost of Rs 464 crores, fully funded by the central government. It will decongest road traffic and improve urban mobility. This extension will ease out access to the two world-famous Kali temples at Kalighat and Dakshineshwar for lakhs of tourists and devotees. Prime Minister will also inaugurate the third line between Klaikunda and Jhargram over a stretch of 30 km of the 132 km long Kharagpur-Adityapur third line project of Southeastern Railway. On the other hand, Prime Minister will dedicate to the nation the doubling of Azimgarh and Kharagra Ghat road section, which is a part of Havda-Bandel-Azimgarh section of Eastern Railway, which has been laid at a project cost of Rs 240 crores. Prime Minister will also dedicate to the nation the fourth line between Dankuni and Baruapada of Havda-Bardhaman Cord Line. These projects will ensure better operational fluidity, less journey time and enhanced safety of train operations, as well as boost the overall economic growth of the region. This is Dr. Priyanka for All India Radio News, Kolkata.
Railway Minister Piyush Goyal has said that railways will be fully electrified in 3 years in West Bengal and all ongoing projects in the state will be completed at the earliest. Mr. Goyal said this while dedicating various infrastructure development and passenger amenity related works in North Bengal area through video conferencing today. He said that North Bengal is naturally beautiful and development of this region will attract more tourists. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman has said that Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas and last mile delivery has been the hallmark of the Modi government since 2014. Speaking at the post-budget discussion in Bengaluru today, the minister said that governance based on Antyodaya practiced now is different from the USSR-based socialism model with centralized decision-making process that failed in the last mile delivery. The minister said that programs like Jan Dhan Yojana, Ujjwala, Ujala and Ayushman Bharat introduced by this government has eliminated middlemen and the benefits have been passed directly to the beneficiaries. She said that their government is not caught in the socialism trap by doling out SOPs and populist schemes that fail to benefit the targeted beneficiaries. Speaking about the budget proposals that she tabled in the parliament, the finance minister said that they will have a multiplier effect on the economy that needs a stimulus package post-pandemic. She further added that economic reforms announced by her are based on trust and faith in the people and establishments, taking the system away from the license Raj. This is All India Radio giving you the news. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on Twitter at AIR News Alerts.
3 steps to stay protected and stay safe from COVID-19. Wear face mask, 2 gaz ki duri to maintain social distancing, maintain hand and face hygiene.
Defence Minister Rajnath Singh today inaugurated the 26th edition of Hunar Haat in New Delhi. Speaking on the occasion, the minister said, Hunar Haat brings together indigenous artisans and craftsmen from across the country. He said this haat is a beautiful exhibition of India's traditional art and craft and more importantly, the country's cultural mosaic. The minister stated that Hunar Haat gives emphasis on vocal for local, which is the basis of self-reliant India. He said Hunar Haat not only gives a common platform to the traditional artisans and craftsmen, but is also an expression of the country's rich culture and tradition.
बहनों भाइयों, नकवी जी ने यह लगवाया न होता हुनर हाट तो राजस्थान की दाल बाटी और चूरमा इतनी जो है प्रसिद्ध न हो पाती, उसको इतनी शोहरत हासिल न हो पाती। प्रधानमंत्री जी भी एक बार आए थे तो उन्होंने भी दाल बाटी चूरमा यहाँ का खाया। झारखंड का जो है हनी हंटर, अब हनी हंटर ये गांव में बनता है, एक से एक कलाएं आपको देखने को मिलेंगे। इसलिए मैं आप सबसे कहूंगा कि परिवार के सदस्यों को भी इसको लाकर आप दिखाइए।
The minister added that the haat plays an important role in the national and international branding of arts and crafts of artisans so that they get a fair price for their products. Our correspondent has filed this report.
The Ministry of Minority Affairs is organizing the Hunar Haat on the theme of Vocal for Local. The Hunar Haat will be underway till 1st March. More than 600 artisans and craftsmen from more than 31 states and union territories are participating. Artisans and craftsmen from Andhra Pradesh, Assam, Bihar, Chandigarh, Chhattisgarh, Delhi, Goa, Gujarat, Haryana, Himachal Pradesh, Jammu Kashmir, Jharkhand, West Bengal, among others, are participating for display and sale of their exquisite indigenous handmade products. These products from every corner of the country are available under one roof at Hunar Haat. The visitors can also enjoy traditional delicacies from every region of the country at Bawarchi Khana section. Besides, the people will also enjoy different cultural and musical programs to be presented by renowned artists of the country. People will get a feel of the strength of the country's unity in diversity at the Hunar Haat. With Anand Kumar, Suparna Setya, AIR News, Delhi.
In Madhya Pradesh, BJP MLA Girish Gautam today filed his nomination papers for the post of the State Assembly Speaker. He is likely to be elected unopposed as the opposition Congress has announced to extend its support. The budget session of MP Assembly will start from tomorrow. More from our Bhopal correspondent.
Girish Gautam, a four-term MLA from Rima district, filed his nomination papers in the State Assembly Secretariat. The post is lying vacant since March last year following collapse of the then Congress-led government. At present, BJP MLA Rameshwar Sharma is the pro-tem Speaker of the State Assembly. The election for the post could not be organized in the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic. Meanwhile, former Chief Minister and State Congress President Kamal Nath in the tweet said that we have decided to extend our support for an unopposed election to the Speaker's post. In the 230-member State Assembly, the ruling BJP enjoys a comfortable majority with 126 legislators. The budget session of Madhya Pradesh Assembly will be held from February 22nd to March 26th. Pooja P. Vardhan, AIR News, Bhopal.
The 10th round of the India-China Corps commander-level meeting was held on the Chinese side of the line of actual control in Moldo. The Defence Ministry has said that the two sides have positively appraised the smooth completion of the disengagement of the frontline troops in the Pangong Lake area. They noted that it is a significant step forward that provided a good basis for resolution of the other remaining issues along the LAC in the western sector. Both the countries had candid and in-depth exchange of views on other issues along the LAC in the western sector. The two sides agreed to follow the important consensus of their state leaders and continue their communication and dialogue. They also agreed to stabilize and control the situation on the ground and push for a mutually acceptable resolution of the remaining issues in a steady and orderly manner to maintain peace and tranquility in the border areas. In Gujarat, polling for 6 municipal corporations, including Ahmedabad, concluded peacefully. The State Election Commission informed that approximately 41.29% voter turnout was recorded in the 6 municipal corporation elections till 6 p.m. The counting of the votes will be held on the 23rd of this month. More from our correspondent.
Polling was conducted for 575 seats of 6 municipal corporations, namely Ahmedabad, Rajkot, Vadodara, Surat, Jamnagar and Bhavnagar. Along with this, the bypolls for 2 seats of Junagadh Municipal Corporation was also held today. Total 2,276 candidates were in fray for the civic poll elections. Voter turnout was highest in Jamnagar, which was 49.59%, while Ahmedabad recorded 37.81% turnout, which was lowest in the state. Union Home Minister Amit Shah cast his vote in Narayanpura ward of Ahmedabad Municipal Corporation today. Chief Minister Vijay Rupani, who was undergoing COVID treatment, tested negative for COVID today. Mr. Rupani, along with his family, cast vote for Rajkot Municipal Corporation elections. Besides BJP and Congress, Aam Aadmi Party had also fielded 470 candidates for the civic polls, while the number of candidates from other parties, including NCP, was 444. The election picture will be clear on coming 23rd of this month. Aparna Khun, AIR News, Ahmedabad.
President Ramnath Kovind today said India's constitutional values of social justice, freedom, equality and fraternity are in line with Guru Ravidas's philosophy of life. He said this while addressing Shri Guru Ravidas Vishwa Mahapeeth Rashtriya Adhiveshan in New Delhi. Mr. Kovind said the Guru not only paved the way for the welfare of his contemporary society but also of future generations. He said Guru Ravidas did not exclude any person or class of society from the periphery of his compassion and love. Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu today said India's linguistic diversity is the cornerstone of the country's ancient civilization. Inaugurating a webinar on fostering multilingualism for inclusion in education and society on the occasion of the International Mother Language Day, Mr. Naidu stressed on the need for usage of mother tongue. He expressed happiness that this year Ministry of Education, Ministry of Culture and IGNCA are organizing the 4-day virtual event to preserve and promote awareness among the people. He said language links the past with the present and is the depositor of collective wisdom. He said mother tongue, which is an important link to socio-cultural identity, needs to be preserved, promoted and propagated. Mr. Naidu said it is unfortunate and detrimental that children are being educated in a language which is alien and not spoken at home.
You're listening to the evening news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Centre asks states with a spike in daily new COVID-19 cases to increase proportion of RT-PCR tests and focus on surveillance and containment in select districts. Over 1 crore 10 lakh people administered COVID-19 vaccine in the country so far. National recovery rate improves to 97.25%. BJP passes resolution appreciating Prime Minister Narendra Modi for effective handling of pandemic and able leadership amid COVID-19. 2 more MLAs of the ruling Congress-led alliance resign ahead of the floor test in the Puducherry Assembly tomorrow. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to visit Assam and West Bengal tomorrow. Several developmental projects to be dedicated. 10th round of India-China Corps Commander level meeting concludes. The two sides welcome smooth completion of disengagement of frontline troops in the Pangong Lake area. In Gujarat, polling in 6 municipal corporations concludes. Over 41% votes cast. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh inaugurates the 26th edition of Hunar Haat in New Delhi, says it gives emphasis on vocal for local. In Jammu and Kashmir, Banihal-Baramulla train service to resume from tomorrow after remaining suspended for 11 months. And in tennis, defending champion Novak Djokovic wins his 9th Australian Open title, beating Daniil Medvedev at Melbourne Park. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts. In Kashmir Valley, the railways will be resuming Banihal-Baramulla train service from tomorrow after remaining suspended for 11 months. The Chief Area Manager, Northern Railways Srinagar, Saqib Yusuf, told AIR News that it has been decided to resume the service and to begin with, only 2 trains will run tomorrow. Saqib said that the first train will be allowed to move from Baramulla to Banihal at 9:10 am, while the second train will run from Banihal to Baramulla at 11:25 am. He has asked the public to avoid unnecessary travel and also maintain social distancing while travelling in the trains. Saqib said that more trains will be allowed to run once the COVID-19 related situation normalizes. Rail services were suspended on March 19, 2020 as COVID-19 cases witnessed a surge across the valley.
Culture and Tourism Minister Prahlad Singh Patel will inaugurate the 3-day Incredible India Mega Homestay Development and Training Workshop in Darjeeling tomorrow. The concept of homestay is getting popular in Darjeeling and Kalimpong districts of northern part of West Bengal. The involvement of the local community is more than ever in this homestay tourism at one of the most favoured hill stations for domestic and inbound tourists. The Tourism Ministry said a total of 450 homestay owners will be trained in the workshop, where IIAS School of Management will train them free of cost in different spheres of hospitality. The aim of this robust hospitality training workshop is to upgrade the hospitality skills of the local community stakeholders by capacity building. Now news from the world of sports.
In tennis, defending champion Novak Djokovic has won his 9th Australian Open title, beating Daniil Medvedev 7-5, 6-2, 6-2 in a one-sided final at Melbourne Park today. Victory takes Djokovic's Grand Slam singles tally to 18, just 2 behind Roger Federer and Rafael Nadal. Earlier, in men's doubles, 9th-seeded Croat-Slovak pair Ivan Dodig and Filip Polasek won the title today. They defeated defending champion and 5th-seeded pair British Joe Salisbury and American Rajiv Ram 6-3, 6-4. This was their first Grand Slam as a team. In cricket, the T20 squad for the 5-match series against England was announced by BCCI yesterday. The matches will be held at Ahmedabad from March the 12th. Ishan Kishan, Suryakumar Yadav and Rahul Tewatia have earned their maiden India call. Wicket-keeper batsman Rishabh Pant, all-rounder Akshay Patel and pacer Bhuvaneshwar Kumar have also returned to the squad. Varun Chakravarti, who missed the Australia series due to an injury, has also been named in the team. Kuldeep Yadav, Sanju Samson and Manish Pandey have been dropped from the side while pacer Jasprit Bumrah has been rested. Reshma Tiwari from Sports Desk.
In the US, a Boeing jet scattered debris over a residential area near Denver after one of its engines failed on takeoff. Federal Aviation Administration FAA said that a United Airlines plane bound for Honolulu suffered a failure in its right-hand engine. The Boeing 777 with 231 passengers and 10 crew on board was able to return safely and land at Denver International Airport. The police department in Broomfield, Colorado said that no injuries were reported. Passengers on board described a large explosion shortly after takeoff. Images posted online showed smoke trailing from the engine. The incident happened yesterday.
UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres today condemned the use of force in Myanmar after 2 people were killed yesterday when the security forces opened fire on protesters in Mandalay, the country's second largest city. In a statement, he said that the use of legal force, intimidation and harassment against peaceful demonstrators is unacceptable. Meanwhile, in Myanmar, Facebook has deleted the military's main page for breaching its standards for prohibiting the incitement of violence. In a statement, Facebook said, in line with the global policies, they removed the Tatmadaw True News Information team page from Facebook for repeated violations of community standards prohibiting incitement of violence and coordinating harm. Meanwhile, police arrested a well-known actor, Lu Min, for opposing the military coup, even as thousands gathered for mass protests in the 2 biggest cities of Yangon and Mandalay. The charges can carry a 2-year prison sentence.
Bangladesh observed the Language Martyrs Day today with Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina and President M. Abdul Hamid paying tributes to the martyrs of the historic language movement. The 2 leaders placed wreaths at the central Shahid Minar in Dhaka. Ministers, members of parliament, chief of armed services and several other dignitaries also paid tributes to the martyrs of the language movement.
Now let us take a look at the weather forecast for tomorrow. Srinagar will have a generally cloudy sky with light rain. Temperature will hover between 3 and 10 degrees Celsius. Jammu will have a generally cloudy sky. The minimum temperature will be around 12 degrees Celsius while the maximum will be around 21 degrees. Leh is expected to have light snowfall. The minimum temperature will be around -6 degrees Celsius while the maximum will be around 6 degrees. Gilgit will have a generally cloudy sky with light rain. The temperature will hover between 3 and 19 degrees Celsius. Muzaffarabad is expected to have thunderstorms with rain. The temperature will hover between 8 degrees and 18 degrees Celsius. The national capital is likely to have fog in the morning. The temperature will hover between 10 degrees Celsius and 29 degrees. Mumbai will have a mainly clear sky. The minimum temperature will be around 24 degrees Celsius, while the maximum is expected to be around 34 degrees. Chennai will have a generally cloudy sky with light rain. The temperature will vary between 24 and 30 degrees Celsius. Kolkata is expected to have a mainly clear sky. The city will observe minimum temperature of 17 degrees Celsius and a maximum of around 31 degrees. In Dehradun, the minimum temperature will be around 12 degrees Celsius, while the maximum will be around 27 degrees. Chandigarh will have a mainly clear sky. The temperature is likely to hover between 14 degrees Celsius and 27 degrees. In Hyderabad, the minimum temperature will be around 19 degrees Celsius, while the maximum will be around 29 degrees. The city will witness fog or mist in the morning and a partly cloudy sky later. Ahmedabad will have a mainly clear sky. The minimum temperature will be around 17 degrees Celsius, while the maximum will be around 34 degrees. Patna is expected to have a mainly clear sky. The temperature will move between 14 degrees Celsius and 29 degrees.
And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Centre asks states with spike in daily new COVID-19 cases to increase proportion of RT-PCR tests and focus on surveillance and containment in select districts. Over 1 crore 10 lakh people administered COVID-19 vaccine in the country so far. National recovery rate improves to 97.25%. BJP passes resolution appreciating Prime Minister Narendra Modi for effective handling of pandemic and able leadership amid COVID-19. 2 more MLAs of ruling Congress-led alliance resign ahead of the floor test in Puducherry Assembly tomorrow. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to visit Assam and West Bengal tomorrow. Several developmental projects to be dedicated. 10th round of India-China Corps Commander level meeting concludes. The 2 sides welcome smooth completion of disengagement of frontline troops in Pangong Lake area. In Gujarat, polling in 6 municipal corporations concludes. Over 41% votes cast. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh inaugurates 26th edition of Hunar Haat in New Delhi. Says it gives emphasis on vocal for local. In Jammu and Kashmir, Banihal Baramulla train service to resume from tomorrow after remaining suspended for 11 months. And in tennis, defending champion Novak Djokovic wins his 9th Australian Open title, beating Daniel Medvedev at Melbourne Park. And with that, we end the evening news. Good night.